But this year's gathering is themed Cooperation for Sustainable Growth and Shared Prosperity. Brand SA is there in full force, led by acting CEO Sithembele Ntombela. She joins us now via Zoom. A very good morning, and thank you so much for making the time to talk to us.
Good morning, Desiree, and to your listeners at home.
We know it's a kind of a busy time there, and we can see just with your outfit, just in terms of the weather there. Did the president's last-minute decision not to attend affect your country marketing plans at the World Economic Forum?
I would say yes and no in that, Desiree. We came prepared, obviously, with a view on the school of thought that we have a head of state coming with us. However, what is beautiful is that we have capable ministers that are accompanying the delegation of Team SA. So with that in mind, and having experienced what we did in May when the president was not around, we were capable to deliver on our mandates as a country. So that's why I'm saying yes and no. We were disappointed in that. It would have been awesome for our president to be around, particularly when we have an SA night, which is quite a strategic platform. But we do have capable ministers. And I suppose that's what leadership is all about, Desiree. It's about bringing up other leaders so that when the main one is not available, others are able to carry on the baton. So we have a capable team, and we have a very strong business support of Team SA.
But one imagines that South Africa's energy challenge is finding its way into conversations at Davos. How has this panned out?
I think more than ever, it's making noise at home more than it is here. And I'll tell you why. Here, lately, we have been interacting with people that are quite keen to understand the value proposition of South Africa. Just yesterday, we had investors that are looking to open up offices in Cape Town. Now, I was quite puzzled because why would people want to have an interest to come and open up offices in a country that has an energy crisis? So it simply means that our approach to acknowledging the problem and being able to talk about the plans that have been put in place to remedy the situation is actually helping, because we cannot lie, but we can simply stay true to what has been put in place in terms of the plans to diversify the supply of energy, for instance, and also the investments that have been put in place to assist with the just energy transition. So I think they know that there is something that is being done, but also they look at it from a broader context, that it's no longer a South African problem or that is peculiar to South Africa. Energy now is a global problem. And here at WEF, it's one of the biggest agendas that is going to be taken and deliberated on. And for us as Team SA, our job is to ensure that we take those insights and, we actually come up with a very strong report and we share with the relevant ministry so that we see how our plans pair in relation to where the world is going in as far as addressing energy crisis.
Yeah. So Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana and Minister of Human Settlements, Mamuluko Kubai, are literally taking over all the meetings that the president would have taken. How is this being received?
It's been received very well, as I said. When we have a capable team that understands the broader agenda and the strategy of where the country is going. And I think we're very clear from an investment perspective that our job is to position South Africa as a competitive destination of choice in the African continent. So we all carry that with multiple sectoral messages that are going to position and with strong reasons to believe. So they are there to definitely talk about the economic structural reforms. They are there to talk about the innovation around the startups, around the ICT clusters, and so forth. So there's quite a number of ministers. Even Minister Patel, we are expecting him today. He's here as well to participate in a country strategy where they'll be presenting South Africa's case study in terms of where we are going as a country from an investment perspective, but also to show the world and demonstrate how South Africa is growing with investors, coming from abroad. And I think no better person to do that narrative other than the minister himself from the DTIC.
Yeah. So how are geopolitical issues affecting this year's gathering? Russia hasn't been invited this year. What's most glaring for you just in terms of the global conversations?
It has not actually affected anything. I would say, Desiree, we have not picked up anything. I think people right now, they are largely focused around the impact, finding solutions to the ripple effects that have, emanated from the actual conflict between Russia and Ukraine. So it's not a bigger agenda as it was last year in May. I think people have moved on, and people are saying now, where is this, where are the solutions? Where is the world going towards? And I think that's where the focus is. I mean, from an economy perspective, all the countries are interested to find out where will the growth come from, and how do they turn these issues around inflation and slow growth around. And then the climate change is one of the biggest, funny enough, more than the Ukraine and Russia, because I think it's one of those global phenomenal issues that have been facing most countries, including us, South Africa as well. So our interest is particularly there, and nothing that we have picked up whatsoever. And as far as Ukraine is concerned.
Mm-hmm. So you're speaking about a broader agenda, South Africa, marketing South Africa as one of the most competitive or destinations of choice. Just overall, is Davos still a meaningful platform? How does South Africa benefit from having a presence there?
I think what we need to understand is that South Africa is a country that is competing with other nations. So I took a walk yesterday to check, and there are very strong brands that are here. Brand India is here, and they're very aggressive in their marketing strategy, and they are promoting investing in India, for instance. There's brand Malaysia, and I believe there's also brand Tanzania, because they are also hosting a country strategy. So to answer your question is that if South Africa does not attend this strategic platform, we lose our share of visibility, we lose our share of voice, because we have an opportunity to influence and bridge the gap between perceptions and reality by telling our own story, Desiree. So if we do not attend such platforms, who will tell our story? Because then we leave the job to other people who may not necessarily know the nitty-gritties and the intricacies that have been put in place towards building South Africa's reputation and image. So for us, Brand South Africa, it is important that we are all aligned in understanding that South Africa as a country is also a brand. So when you understand how you build a brand, consistency is one of the key elements that one has to stay true to us. And as Brand South Africa, that is why you would find us in these platforms, in platforms such as BRICS, purely because it is relevant. So you lose your relevance, you lose your momentum, you lose your visibility. And really, then you lose opportunities of telling South African value proposition and articulating it, thereby, igniting interest. Because ultimately, what we want, Desiree, is a conversion. We want to tell our story and have, investors that will come and knock on our doors, like the one that came yesterday and said, "Who do I speak to if I want to open up offices in South Africa?" So that's the purpose of why we're here.
So when you're in a platform such as this one, you get a sort of a gauge as to how South Africa's brand is perceived. Is the national brand respected? What are the challenges that we are experiencing?
I don't think we have challenges as in this forum as such, but we get feedback in terms that yesterday investors were keen to understand what is the plan on energy. They want to know about the crime, and our job, as I say, is to really relay the story and the interventions that have been put in place to combat that negative narrative about South Africa. But also we start to talk about the African continent as a whole, hence the AfCFTA agenda. And we have, again, the SG that will be coming in tomorrow. So we use the platform in the broader context of the African continent, whilst we are pushing South Africa, because of obviously we have a very advanced infrastructure, and all we want to do is that we want to ignite that excitement and interest to come and invest, but they must come to South Africa, and then they can open up to the rest of the continent for other opportunities. And thus far, we are also doing an audit in our Brand SA hub, which is for Team SA, where we do ask those questions to find out, and we'll do a consolidated report. But so far, the sentiment and the tone have been quite positive, Des.
We hope to talk to you when you return, just in terms of what has been achieved. But thanks for making the time. We know you've got a busy day ahead, so let's release you to go do what you need to do. Sithembele Ntombela is the acting chief executive officer at Brand SA. They're in Davos for the World Economic Forum, and as you heard there, a bit rattled by the president not attending, but work still continues.